Weather is our other top story here that we turn to meteorologist Chris Mulcahy tracking some rain. I thought, as we get closer to the holiday, that traffic, and it was yesterday afternoon, traffic is lighter. This morning should be lighter, but there was an accident on 77 that had this domino effect on surface streets, and the drizzle, and it's slick, and it's gross. And so we're starting off on a kind of drizzly gray day.
Yeah, and this is rare. We haven't done this recently, but it's okay. It's going to keep us a little bit cooler. That I know a lot of us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, a lot of us are disappointed that we're not going to hit 90 degrees again. Right?
We're not?
Yeah. Now I only have a high of 87 today.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean? It should be boo. I want 100 again. Just joking. We're really excited. That's where we were saying that, like, once 88 popped up on there, we brought it down to 87 today. We're like, all right. We're swinging over to Boom because I wanted to show you that over in Sugar Mountain, it is still a pretty cloudy sky. And since it is a mountain, it's a little bit higher up, so they're still dealing with some of those low-level clouds. Over in Boone, it is getting a lot brighter there, and that camera's frozen. I assure you the cars are not all stalled out in the middle of the road. Here on our Dallas camera, though, still some darker clouds, and we have clouds at all different levels, lower level, mid-level, and of course the upper level cirrus. So that really hinders you trying to warm things up, and that's why temperatures have been stuck in the mid-70s. And then over in downtown Monroe, there's that word dreary, just wherever you look. And let's go to Lylesville. Lylesville has been a little bit brighter overall, and we will see the sunshine by the end of the day. Some of us will see it a lot earlier, just depends. Here around the 45 loop, just a little bit of light rain, some drizzle closer to Concord over to Harrisburg. Some of the heaviest rain that we've had so far has been right here around New London, over to Albemarle, Mount Pleasant, dealing with a decent downpour, also over to Meisenheimer as well. And then this little cell is finally starting to break up a little bit. This has been dumping a lot of rain over in Alexander County. It's right here around Claremont right now for the time being, and we're going to see a lot of different spotty cells like this. So right now this is just a rainstorm, not a thunderstorm, because there's no thunder, there's no lightning. That will change likely as we get a little bit closer to the lunchtime hour, so get ready for some thunder sandwiches and then maybe a little bit of downpours from place to place. Here is a closer look at what's happening right now from the Grand View. This is actually a cold front that's pushing through the area. So you have technically the one line that's along the cold front, and then you have that secondary one further off towards the east. I think the heaviest rain will be east of the Charlotte area. Our Futurecast doing a good job picking up on this. Once we get the clouds to break a little bit, we'll allow ourselves to get back into the lower 80s, but I'm seeing sunshine pop up as early as really the next hour or so in the foothills. We're seeing a brighter sky right around noon for you in Statesville. I think around Lincolnton you're seeing a brighter sky at that point, but it's really around lunchtime that we're seeing most of the heavier rain. And then that's also lingering into the early afternoon. So it's not really until the front passes that are going to have some of that drier air. Temperatures reaching the mid to the upper 80s by the end of the afternoon. And then we'll see the last ditch after those showers, really between about 5 and 7 for, say, Lancaster County over to Chesterfield. And then we're drying out heading into the evening. And that's going to spark a nice little dry trend. A close look at our highs today. This is an odd map because you have 90 degrees in Morganton, 87 in Charlotte, and then the lower 80s to the southeast. The reason why is that areas like Cheraw and Wadesboro are going to be under overcast to mostly cloudy skies most of the day. Sunshine is very important for warming us up. So when you have those thick clouds, as I showed you on the Dallas camera, at all different levels, well, it doesn't really allow you to get a lot of sunshine to warm up the surface. But that will happen a little bit later on. All of a sudden, it'll be a gloomy day, and you're like, sunshine will be out in action. So our heat streak, this is why we're all super sad. We just spent 13 days in a row, anywhere from 90 to 100 degrees. Well, today only in the upper 80s. Some of us will still touch that 90-degree point. Now, no. So I've been misled before. There's a chance that if the clouds clear super fast and this front says, I don't want to be here anymore, and we get a couple more hours of sunshine, say if you start seeing sunshine around noon to 1, we could exceed my expectations and hit 90 degrees, and then this streak continues. And our own Lily Aldrich, our intern extraordinaire, threw this together for me. The longest 90-degree stretches over the last 10 years, This would be the 7th longest, the longest we've had since 2022, 13 days in a row. So sorry we're not going to continue that, but I guarantee we'll start many other stretches. 2020 had the longest over the last 10 years, up to 20 days, but the longest of all time, 33. We don't want to do that. Our overnight forecast, either side of 70 degrees. We're drying out, not too bad. Pretty much our lows are in the lower 70s, 71 to 73. That's easy to remember. Tomorrow, there it is. Back to what you expect. 93 degrees. Ignore the 50%. I don't know how that popped up there. It's going to be a nice sunny day. Winds out of the north, though. Not really cooling us down too much. But tomorrow also starts, we've learned this here on our stream, starts the dog days of summer.
July 3rd.
July 3rd, there it is. So July 3rd to August 11th. So it was actually the ancient Egyptians and many other different cultures thought that the dog star, which is the brightest star in the sky, when that rises with the sun, that the power of 2 stars is the reason why we're so warm during summer. We, of course, know that that's not true, but that's what they thought. So our dog days of summer are 20 days before the dog star and 20 days after the dog star aligns with the sun. So now you know. Now when people say it's the dog days of summer starting tomorrow, I will not correct you. 94, 92, 91. We're back to the lower 90s for your Saturday heading into Sunday. A great 4th of July weekend. It's also less humid. It's still humid for your 4th of July and for your 5th of July. Less people celebrate the 5th of July. I don't know why. And then for your Sunday, I think our usual isolated thunderstorms start to pop back up. Now, here's what's interesting. This little front, this little guy, is going to work its way down towards the south, and then notice this little twist and bend here. Look at this. Look off the South Carolina coast. I'm going to animate it one more time. You're going to start to see a little bit of rotation right there. That potentially could be our next tropical system. So we didn't really pay too much attention to Barry because that was over in Mexico, and it was almost a non-issue. We didn't pay attention to Andrea because literally out in the middle of the Atlantic, a fish storm doing nothing. But this one is worth watching because it's right off the Carolina coast. So I think by as early as Sunday, and maybe Saturday, but I think really Sunday, we could be talking about tropical storm Chantal, at least a tropical depression. Now we have a high pressure system that's really going to help try to blockade that from getting here. But compared to yesterday, we had a 20% chance for development over the next 2 to 7 days. Now we have a 40% chance for development. So we're right in the heart of this. So realistically, by the end of the weekend, we could have named storm number 3, Chantal, right off the coast. I think if it does somehow make landfall, it would just be mainly some rain impacts. But that's something that we're also watching as well, because I'm worried about the lasting impacts that say, hey, in the middle of the week, if it does make landfall, stalls out, it could be a lot of rain. Also, the biggest thing that these guys usually produce, cloud cover. So it could be a little bit cloudier. So even though we have 94 next Tuesday, there is a chance that if this hovers around, that we could actually be back to closer to the upper 80s again, depending on the cloud cover, where things start to line up. Also, if it dances out in the Atlantic, that would cause an atmospheric block. So it would allow for any systems that do move in to linger a little bit longer. So those are cases in scenario. So I think outside of this 7-day forecast, we are looking at a big change. But for the near term, today is the only day that kind of excludes itself from the rest. It says, I don't want to be in the 90s. I want to be Wednesday.